Hello everyone, welcome to Move Well, Live Well. Have you been experiencing pain or discomfort in the low back, sometimes sharpness in the low back when you're doing your exercises at the gym, such as the bench press, the overhead press, deadlifts, or pull-ups? Well, if you are, you're not alone. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do one move to help eliminate that pain or discomfort and sharpness in the low back when you do those exercises. So, join us, shall you? So, what's happening with these folks when they're at their gym and they're doing their exercises is they're having an issue with their low back. They're going into hyperextension. They have a tendency when they're doing their exercises, they're going into hyperextension. So let's say if I'm doing a bicep curl, they're doing this. They're extending at the low back like this. Or if they're bench pressing, they're having a tendency to, you see that my low back right there? You see they're extending, hyperextending at the low back. And so bench press, overhead press, they got their butts sticking out more. Well, let's face it, I'm gonna go through it again. Most of us sit a lot, all day long. So we have developed this kind of anterior pelvic tilt. Now, what's an anterior pelvic tilt? Well, if you think of your pelvis as like a bucket, so this is your pelvis, right? And it's a bucket, and what's happening with this bucket, it's tipping forward. So if you're looking at me side view here, this bucket, this pelvis of mine, as it tips forward, see that? This is backward, this is forward. As it's tipped forward, even me, when I stand normally, I kind of stand kind of like this. This is kind of relaxed for me here. And I have this little bit of I have a curve in my low back. We all have a natural curve in our low back. But even me, I kind of have a little bit of an anterior pelvic tilt. I have to be conscious of flattening that out, and that's the move I'm going to show you how to do today. I'm going to show you how to do that movement, that one movement, in 5 different positions. So, standing, prone or face down, supine or face up, seated, and also in the pull-up. Standing, here you are. You're standing, and again, if I'm relaxed, I have this curve in my low back. If I were to do a bicep curl, I don't want to do this. See that? And that's what a lot of people have a tendency to do. They brace improperly. And so they brace and then they extend the low back, feeling like they're tightening everything up, and what's going on is they're just cramming the facets or the joints in their low back, and they're suffering for it. So what you do, all you do is tuck your butt just like that. I don't know if you can see that. It's very subtle. I'll get a little closer here so you can kind of see. So this is me this is hyperextension, right? This is me just standing normally. And what I'm going to do before I exercise, I'm going to just like that. And don't forget to draw in. That drawing in maneuver is also very important too. I'm going to put a link to the video on how to draw in and activate that transverse abdominis, which is our own interior weight belt. So I'm going to put a link in the description for that video on how to do that. This video obviously is that one move. This is it. You're standing just like that. This is my normal stance, and before I exercise, I'm going to draw in, and then I'm going to flatten out that back a little bit. So I'm going to tuck my butt underneath me. So essentially, I'm taking that bucket, and instead of it being tipped forward like this, I'm going to tip it backward, just like that. So forward, backward, forward, backward. So practice doing the forward and backward exercise. Forward, backward. Get a little closer. So forward, you see how my curve in my back gets increased, and then backward, it decreases. See that? And that is an instant, just by doing that, it's an instant relief of pain in the low back, just like that. Boom. See that? Boom. Boom, just like that. So that's how you do it standing. In just a second here, we're gonna move to the floor. I'm gonna show you how to do it face down. So before you do your push-ups or something like that, I'm gonna show you how to do it there. So here we are on the floor. And again, just like standing, this is just a different position. What you're doing, if you can kind of see, you can see kind of my curve in my low back there in the video. Let me tilt this down a little bit more so you can kind of see a little bit better. There. So you can see that curve in my low back. Now check this out. Before I do my movement, I'm going to draw in and then I'm just going to do this. Check out my low back. I'm going to tuck that in. See that? This is hyperextension. This is anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. See the difference? Anterior, posterior. Anterior, posterior. So before, let's say you're going to do a push-up, you're going to draw in with the transverse abdominis, and then you're going to posterior pelvic tilt, and now I'm in a prime position for my spine to do a push-up. See that? My spine doesn't move, and my low back is protected. Now, I usually recommend, 3 sets of 15 to kind of get this feeling in the low back, to practice activating the glute. Just gonna tuck the butt underneath you. You'll feel the front part of your thigh smash up against the mat as you do this. So again, this is anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. Anterior, posterior. Just like that. So here I am. This is my relaxed state right now. My feet are behind me just like this, nice and relaxed. And all I'm doing is I'm tucking the glute. See that? I'm activating the glute and I'm activating my abs. And I'm taking that bucket, instead of spilling forward, I'm trying to take the bucket and spill it backwards. See that? Boom. Boom. Just like that. Now here in just a second, I'm going to show you how to do it while you're on your back. So like for instance in a bench press. I'm going to bring the bench out. We'll show you how to do it on a bench. All right. So now we're here on the bench. And as you can see, I got my feet down. They're about 90 degrees. Like I'm going to bench press here. And if you can see my shirt right here, you can kind of see a little bit of a curve in my low back as I'm doing this. A lot of people, when they bench, they do this. They arch their back like this. Now, obviously in powerlifting meets and that type of thing, as you're getting close to your 1 rep max, there's some techniques where you do arch your back. This is not a video on how to do that. This is a video on how to decrease that pain in your low back because of the exercises that you're doing. So that's for a whole different video. Anyway, so here we are, just like this. And you can kind of see that lumbar curve right here. See that? And what I'm doing, so again, just like the other ones, this time I'm on my back. All I'm doing before I bench, I'm just going to flatten out my back against the bench. See that? My glutes tighten up, my abs contract a little bit, and now, boom. It's just, again, that bucket. Instead of tipping forward, tipping back. Tip forward, tip back. Tip forward, tip back. And boom, there you are. You're in this position, and man, you can feel those glutes fire. You can even feel your legs. You're gonna be in a nice, strong position to bench. We're basically adopting this movement from gymnastics. If you watch gymnasts, they go into a posterior pelvic tilt to protect their spine as they do their movements. So here we are on our backs. We're going to bench and we're going to go into a posterior pelvic tilt, flattening out that back. Boom, just like that. here we are seated, and this is a position we're all too familiar with, is being seated. Well, here we go. With the posterior pelvic tilt, it's gonna be a great tutorial for you to how to sit so that way you don't cram your low back. A lot of folks, when they sit, they have a tendency to do either one of two things. They do this. They either slouch all the way forward like this, and their mid-back and their neck gets messed up, or they try to sit up straight and they overdo sitting up straight, and then their low back goes into hyperextension, and then this is not good. You kind of want to find a midway between this and this. So you're trying to find that halfway point, and what that halfway point is again, you want to find that extension, but you want to just come back just off that just a little bit and go into a posterior pelvic tilt. Anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. Anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. And again, I'm not slouching. See, this is slouching when you're just hanging on your, we call this hanging on your meat. And this is slouching. And people sit like this, or they sit like this. So again, it's that midway point. You're not slouching, but you're not hyperextending either. You're here, right there. Boom. 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 And you can see my upper back is not slouched forward. Boom. So everything's kind of engaged while you're seated. So practice that. And again, anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt, anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt. And this is where you want to be, not slouched or not hyperextended. We're going to go to the pull-up here in just a second. All right, so here we are at the power rack here. I'm going to show you how to do a pull-up while you're doing that posterior pelvic tilt so you don't cram the joints in your low back. You don't get that low back pain when you're doing your pull-ups. So here we are. So we are here at the rack, and you can kind of see the curve in my back here. See that? See that curve? And what you're doing, all you're doing, instead of having that bucket tip forward like that, instead of having that bucket tip forward, you're just going to tuck the butt under. You see that curve pretty much almost disappear. So here you are, and then watch this. As I tuck under, just like that, look at that curve just go away. So anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt, anterior, posterior. And if you look at my shape here, you really can't see. Well, I'll go a little farther so you can kind of see. As I do this, so this is anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt, you can see I'm in this hollow position. Again, we're borrowing this from gymnastics. Now, gymnasts are amazing athletes in their own right. You know, some of the stuff that they do is, beyond what I can even understand. But anyway, that banana shape, that hollow position is essentially what we're doing here. So, we're taking this, and instead of doing pull-ups like this, you can see how that'll wreck your low back. We're gonna tuck that underneath and do our pull-up this way. See that? And now it's tucked underneath as we do the movement. So here we are, anterior pelvic tilt. I'll get a little closer. Anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt, anterior, posterior. Keep it in that posterior position as you do your pull-up. Boom. And low back pain is gone. So practice doing those. That's one move to eliminate low back pain when you're doing your exercises. Anyway, if you have any questions with this video, drop it off in the comment section below. We thank you for watching. We appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. And when you hit subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification button, because that'll keep you in the loop for subsequent videos coming here in the near future. And that way you can continue to move well, live well. Also, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know you care. And I know you know folks that are exercising, or they may not be, avid exercisers. They could just be walking around having back pain, low back pain. Share this with them. That way they can learn how to do the posterior pelvic tilt and eliminate their back pain while they're doing their activities. Anyway, we thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.